So as far as Slices Make a Loaf in this entire training program, as far as getting as many people or relevant partners on board with your business idea, whether it's a product or service, to either help you raise capital or both probably sell really, really fast around huge territories, around the country, around the world. You're going to want to know how to protect that network, right? This network of partners that you're building up, this distribution channel. So you got to know who they are, right? So you've got to know who are the people that would steal your distributors, who would come in there and mess things up for you. You spent all this time figuring out designing the deals, the structure, the scale, and figuring out how to deploy, putting together this distribution network. These are typical entities who would come, or these are the factors that you have to take into consideration as far as people stealing your distribution networks. Competitors, obvious one, right? If you're joining a very competitive industry, once they get wind of it, that all these different partners are actually selling this brand, that's your brand, they're promoting this product and they're doing some damage, like some money's coming in, or you're raising capital for this type of business, other people will either create something to compete with you, or existing competitors will start coming in there. And if they can't steal your distribution partners, they may sabotage them. It could be internal. Your employees could be stealing, right? So it could be people who worked with you that you're now letting go of, right? That have access to the lists and lists of clients that you have, the buying list, the emailing list, anyone that you have working with you as far as your distribution partners are concerned. They're taking that information, and this happens all the time. It does. They're taking this information, they're selling it off to the competitor, or they're trying to set up their own shop. That's a really big deal. And also, let's flip the coin here. I mean, this is really important to make this distinction, because it's all well and good me saying it, but you've got to know from a legal perspective whether you can or cannot do this. Are you the guy or the company or the entity, the person stealing someone else's distributor? Because think about it. It's the best place to start, right? I mean, it's what I've done. And when it comes to building, when it came to selling those real estate properties, the multifamily ones here in the US, I looked at other companies who were doing the same thing in the US. And I looked at every one of all the companies that were selling or had that kind of brochure or that investment class all over the website. So I would find them and I'd call them and I'd talk trash. I mean, I wouldn't talk trash, but I would say things that would have them seriously consider dropping that project and taking on mine, or just prioritizing mine. So adding me to their menu, but then taking a lot of time to prioritize me. So, you've got to know where you can do that and how protected you are. what kind of restrictions or protections they have too, in terms of, can they stop you from doing it, and how can they stop you from doing it? So this all relates to competing interests. Okay. That's the legal definition for this. It's competing interests. So your distributors will grow and start selling other competing products. Okay. So if they're growing, you've got a company so let's say I'll give you a direct example. I'm with my real estate company, the private equity, parking investment, business, where I take on this kind of fledgling alternative investment company that was selling loan notes for property purchases for developers who needed money to build. And they were doing some kind of basic traditional real estate deals. And I picked them up and I said, why don't you sell these parking lots? Look at these benefits. Look how great it is. We're going to pay you this kind of money. They started to build as a business. They started to get better. Okay. So they started building their own client lists. Their staff became better qualified to sell. They're becoming, as people get better selling and they take those wins home, everyone's getting paid a bit more. They reinvest in themselves. They become better executing against their own job, right? So their entire business is becoming better. It's something to be proud of, right? I'm proud of that. But then equally, what will they want to do? They want to do more. So they want to have maybe their own product that they want to start building, their own real estate investment. Maybe they're trying to take on other products, thinking that, well, if they're just working well with me, they can keep on growing, right? So competing interests, is that a bad thing? Is it a good thing? I mean, it's definitely a good thing whilst all their focus is on you. Is it a bad thing when they start shifting their focus from you? Your distributors will require you to assist them with competitors moving on your channels. So for instance, if you've got, remember I showed you that diagram, it's not always just about having, there's you, and then you have let's say you have two different entities are assisting you. So two alternative investment, or if you're selling, something that's been manufactured or some kind of merchandise, and you're working with these two, let's say, wholesalers, and they're now selling through two large retail outlets. And that retail outlets, they have their overflow stock, their surplus, they'll sell it through other kind of places. So that they've got lots of different places that are selling to this big, this is my scribble that depicts the market of buyers out there. Okay. So in that kind of a situation, if someone's coming in to attack, say over here, and this is really under fire, this distributor, this partner of yours may actually come to you and say, hey, look, big guy, you're the guy who we're really working with and we're selling the most. I want to know if you can come in here and actually start handling this situation with us. It might be a question of you stepping in to take over entirely. It could be a question of you working together with them, sharing the legal costs, whatever the case may be. They are going to require you to assist them, especially if they're making money and they know you're making a lot of money and you're growing exponentially. They're going to expect you to jump in. Also, if you're the entity, for instance, let's say you're the middleman. Remember that case where I was a recruiter, or when I was my own company, Core Agents, for the last 10 years that I've been working on, my bread and butter, where I had the products that I was having exclusive access to. Now, you know what? Maybe I should, I'll draw it over here so it's a bit clearer. These are the products. Product 1, product 2, product 3. In my case, it was real estate. In your case, it could be whatever the case may be. And then this is me. And so I would have exclusive contracts with these to be able to distribute and find people to sell them for me. I've got this great percentage split, amount of fee or commission that I can give out. So I find company number 1, 2, and 3. And of course, they have all of their, they have their sub-agents and they have their resellers. And of course, they're getting their percentage splits as well. And they're accessing that market, that beautiful ocean of buyers that we all want. Okay. And say, what I'm talking about here is if the product itself, if the company that I have an exclusive contract with, if they're going to double cross me, and this does happen so often, or if I miss a KPI, a key performance, and if I have a couple of bad months, this company here decides to cut me out the mix and start speaking to the people that they've found out that I brought on. I mean, how do you stop that from happening? Can you stop that from happening? Well, you should be able to, especially if you've got contracts in place, because you can lean on those. But this is the things these are some examples of the things that can happen. And we're not talking about mis-selling here or people doing malpractice just yet, but as far as competing interests are concerned, this is relevant, seriously something that you need to understand, because you might think it's worlds away or miles away. You haven't even started yet. But as soon as you start, literally the first, let's say you get 3 distributors on board, and 3 distributors put together 30 grand worth of marketing budget spread over 2 months to promote your business, your investment cap raise, your product, your service, whatever it is. They go out and push that money out there. People are going to notice. Okay. That's what happens. As soon as they notice, you haven't even collected your first deal yet. People are already paying attention. If you're trying to get in buyers to pay attention, believe me, your competitors and people who want to do something bad to your business will take notice as well. So bear that in mind. So how solid are your contracts? Okay. They won't stop everything. And like I said, imagine you're the one hunting down the other distribution channels. Okay. Remember that. You could be the one. And frankly, you probably are going to be the one. At one stage or another, you're going to be chasing down someone else who's done it already, right? You're going to be looking to take those people and put them into your channel partner list. You could be on the offense as well as the defense at the same time. So you've got to figure out how enforceable these lawsuits are. You know, I mean, I can cover like I say, the mainstay policies, that exist out there as far as tortious interference, like if someone's doing some sabotaging, stuff that we can put in, stuff that I know exists in pretty much every contract as a template. But of course, you're going to have your own contracts. And in those contracts are going to be things that you've put in that have other people agreed to. Your partners, anyone who's working with you, are going to have been signing off on these contracts. So will you have something to stand on? Yes, you will by default, because I'm going to cover mainstay. But also, if you've got some better put together contracts, you'll have more to lean on. So this is really looking at that now. But there's 3 questions that really, with those contracts, with whatever contracts you have, so I'm backtracking to the extent I don't want to make what I just said to sound like it's a flippant statement, like something that's sort of off the cuff. The fact is, whilst you might have really good contracts put together, and you may have mainstay policies, you've got to, these are the 3 questions, and they don't have to be all answered. It could be one of these 3. So it could be one of these 3 questions that need to be satisfied for you to have any kind of strength as far as a solid contract is concerned. And let me break this down for you. So the first question is, and this is what a judge would ask, or a lawyer will ask you, or think about asking, or this is the questions they have in their mind. Can a company, you or someone else, legally restrict its distributors from recruiting other distributors for other companies? So that's the first question that they're going to think. Can you stop them? Okay, let's look at your business. Let's look at your sector. Can you stop that from happening? Can you restrict their sub-distributors from selling or promoting your competitors' products or services? So what does that mean? The people that are working with you, can you stop them from selling your stuff? Or can other people come in and stop them from selling their stuff? Or other people's things. And if you are a distributor, can you sell products or services for whoever you wish, whoever you want? You're a free agent, right? So if you're selling, if you're who I was, right? So core agents, I should be able to sell whatever product I want. No one should be able to stop me from taking on portfolios and products and merchandise, real estate, services. I should be able to take on anything I want. I should have no restrictions, right? So these are the 3 questions. But what do these 3 questions mean? Okay. It's, can I stop them from recruiting other distributors? Can you restrict them from selling or promoting your competitors' products? Or if you're a distributor, can you sell products or services to whoever you want as a free agent, right? Well, whoever you want, whenever you want. Those are the elements of those 3 questions. These are the questions you have. So let's look at the answers. Well, to answer these questions, you've got to look at, can you or your partner protect its channel partner lists as a trade secret? Okay, so trade secret is now a legal definition. Can you protect your partner list as a trade secret? So this is where that would go. Can a company or someone else legally restrict its distributors from recruiting other distributors for other companies? Basically, are your lists trade secrets? Number 2, do the contracts in place violate any antitrust laws? And what are antitrust laws in relation to? Well, it's to do with restricting the promotion of healthy competition for the benefit of consumers. Basically, we don't want monopolies. That's what it means. We don't want one company that just to rule them all. So someone should turn Amazon that. So where would that go? Well, that goes right here. Can you restrict sub-distributors from selling or promoting your competitors' products? Can you stop them from selling someone else's? Do you want them to? That's another question, by the way. Do you really want them to not be able to sell someone else's products or services? Because if you've got a company that's growing, by the way, and they're getting better at selling your product, and then they take on other people's products, what does that mean? It means they're attacking, or they're building a bigger relationship with their clients. Maybe they were only able to sell a client one of your things. Now they can revisit that client and sell them something else, but they're building up this stronger relationship with them. They're able to tap into their own other markets. So their own networks are getting bigger. Their client bases are getting bigger. And they can funnel more clients back to you. It's actually good for business. So do you want to stop that from happening? But here's where antitrust goes. That's where that goes. Antitrust. Or if you're a distributor and you can sell products to services to whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Well, are the contractual restrictions too broad? That's the question there. Very simple. Are you saying that if you're selling real estate, you cannot sell real estate investments for any other company. Is it too broad? So these are the 3 questions that need to be satisfied by law. So the next section here, I'm actually going to just jump straight into what defines a trade secret. And after that, what is antitrust and can it be implemented? And the third thing after that is, are they too broad? What makes something too broad? Really basic stuff. You got to know it, because not only are you using it to protect you, you're using it to decide whether or not you're going to shark tactic and hunt down someone else's distribution partner list. So that's it. And I'll see you in the next section on trade secrets.